want change. We want change. We want change. We want change. We want a change.
Galentolu pia mulila pone. Ona kwa mulila pone. Bakulu wa bakulu. Tatule
The sound magician. Wi-Fi on the beat, boy.
Tatwa kupele voting atawa bomba eh. Tatwa kupele voting atawa bomba eh. Tawali mone voting atawa bomba eh. Tawali mone voting atawa bomba eh. Bantuno mwaka kuya bebele twanakane mwe mwachira mobufi kuya bebele akwamulele numa kuya bebele mwachira mobufi mwalitula ile ona lebwati mukesa tupangira kwemisebo twali mipele neboti ati mukesa tupangira kwemisebo nimwewo mwatile mukesa tukulira nechipatala ifwe nimwewo mwatile mukesa tukulira na masukulu kuno ukutula potwa misalila ifwe mwalitula baona lebo imisebwala yagyonaika ichipatala takwaba kuno abana besu basambilila mufimuti fya mango bana mayo mapapira mungande zipatala takwaba kuno imisepila chose malofwa bapepa pyebange fama lelilo mufunda tawafika nembuto tashafika ukutula potwa misalila ifwe mwalitula baona lebo nomba lelo mwabwela imwe mulefwa yatumivotele tatwakupele voting atawa bomba eh. Tatwakupele voting atawa bomba eh. Tawali mone voting atawa bomba eh. Tawali mone voting atawa bomba eh. Bantuno mwaka kuya bebele twanakane mwe mwachira mobufi kuya bebele akwamulele numa kuya bebele mwachira mobufi uno mwaka tulefwa yabakutubombera nota bakwisa kuno mukuzembereka mukutwibira mano nga twabavotera abaya nangu mwatupele ndalama tulepo katatwa mivotere nidonti kubeba wapoka walya nidonti kubeba wapoka walya ababina chimwe na mwekole uko bafuma balilaba bayi kutapiza balaboko bafuma bayi kutapai balabati bakabwela balya chikini nena mabanu inapana kaso wala ona lebo mulabeja ukutula potwa misalila ifwe walitula baona lebo nomba lelo mabwela imwe mulefwa yatumivotele tatwakupele voting atawa bomba eh. Tatwakupele voting atawa bomba eh. Tawali mone voting atawa bomba eh. Tawali mone voting atawa bomba eh. Bantuno mwaka kuya bebele twanakane mwe mwachira mobufi kuya bebele akwamulele numa kuya bebele mwachira mobufi bantuno mwaka kuya bebele twanakane mwe mwachira mobufi kuya bebele akwamulele numa kuya bebele mwachira mobufi bantuno
amana anomazuva kumusadza wonoyo hakainde wanoyo no ebala musapota here support from Southern Province but some people they have given up when kuno ku Southern Province. Now if someone from Southern Province can give up, are you telling me that someone from Lusaka and Chingola can still love him? When you yourselves who started loving him before these other provinces started loving him, you've given up. Some of them have, like me, have stopped loving him. Me and my family and other people, we've stopped loving him. Now you think if we can give up, I'm also Tonga because when we had Tonga, no Tonga, many Tonga were full time Mdala. But I have given up on supporting Hagainde because of my own reasons. So you think the reasons that the other people have for giving up on supporting Hagainde are not valid, such that the other people from other provinces they cannot buy them. Let us learn to analyze politics. Utikatwa ambao kuve Hagainde isi chage walo ngojita decide ijitika mu Zambia, you must realize to say Mdara an election can be very disappointing. Ask the people of Kenya. Ask the people of Kenya. The person that won as the president, Tiamagamu Hago Muhiba Pewa, Wari Usolabo, Magatibu, Pantubola Hotel, Baile Hotel Mutungwena, Novatamuri. So I know what we ask. So let us be very careful as we talk. And let us be exposed. Not to get the Tonabos was almost southern province. We get the Moena Momons, Mokala, now Kuri Womonzo. You and because that village supports again, you think now everyone else is supporting. That is non-exposure. Let us be exposed. Vamos directa bagalonga. Why is it that people fail to deliver? They fail to deliver when the head is not functioning very well. If the head is not functioning, now training, you can't expect the trailers to start moving. These mayors, these MPs and councillors who are not performing, it's because Haga in himself is a failure. Let us just face the reality. If Mr. Hijirema was not a failure, he was going because he is aware that in Mazabuka, because the other time he was talking about roads, particularly about Mazabuka, he is aware that there is nothing going on in Mazabuka and he is quiet. It means that is how the work culture is. It's like Bari now is an entertainer who knows how to speak entertaining people. No, he just entertains people through his speeches. But when it comes to delivering, he is not there. So we should just accept that fact. So those that are saying, the councillor must go, the higher must continue. Do you know where the money comes from? When we talk about infrastructure development, the money comes from central government. Now they said, CDF or CDF. And this CDF comes with guidelines. They may release money, and the money that will be released will come with guidelines on how it will be spent. And you can't expect the councillor or an MOP or the mayor to just go against the instructions that will come from the ministry. No, and that ministry receives the instructions directly from the president. So the failures we are seeing now, and even the same money for CDF, there is one about 2 times, 3 times. And yet they have kept on increasing money. We've increased the money from this figure to another figure. But they don't release those money. Go and find out who can. So how many times CDF Nyagas were where? You will be surprised that yes, the figures have been increased and people have been jumping up and down like toddlers. But there is nothing that is coming out. Bagalonga. So those are the things that we are talking about. Let us not be overexcited like a toddler that has been overfed with milk. No. Let us sit down and analyze these things. We don't just have to do.
Zambia, yes, was in a debt-distressed position some 4 years ago. This is when the new government came into place in 2021. A difficult situation in terms of the debt position was inherited. And so we put in place a restructuring program which required us under the G20 common framework to address the debt situation. And so there have not been any defaults since that program was put in place. And I'm happy to say that we are amongst the first countries, if not the first, to have treatment under the G20 program and complete it in accordance with our agreement with the IMF. So we do not owe the IMF as at now. We're getting concessional finance actually from the IMF and the World Bank as a consequence of this successful debt restructuring program that we undertook. In terms of the effects of the current crisis in the Middle East, the conflict in the Middle East, the challenge that brings, of course, is that it has knock-on effects in terms of increased cost of essential commodities, fertilizer, and more importantly, petroleum products that we must import since we don't produce them as ourselves. And this has the potential to sort of reverse some of the gains that we made all these times towards reducing inflation. And that's part of the success of our program. From a double-figure inflation that we inherited, we now are at a single figure. From a negative 2.8% GDP growth that we inherited, we're now growing at 6% now. We were hoping that this would increase in the coming period, but now we expect that there will be a bit of a slowdown because of the crisis that is in the Middle East.
What is the take on the need for debt restructuring for African countries by the Bretton Woods and the IMF?
Yes.
How should it be done?
I think the conversations now are very, very clear that Africa is entitled to a more fair global financial architecture. These are conversations that we have had at the AU and even at the UN level through the Financing for Development platform. And it's a consensus that we have now that we must look at Africa to having our own indigenous homegrown financial solutions, including the more significant role played by our development banks in capital inflows into the continent for the much needed infrastructural development. So we should look at this debt being completely addressed. There are some arguments that there must be debt forgiveness entirely from the West so that we can stand on 2 feet again as Africa. But I strongly believe that the solution is in our homegrown efforts, including the creation of institutions such as the African rating, our own rating institute, so that we can speak to how capital flows into this continent, into our continent in a fair manner.
I heard also Zambia has rejected the US fund package.
No. We are still in discussion. We are still talking with our friends, our partners, the US. There's several matters which, of course, need to be attended to, need to be thought through very effectively. I'm aware some of the countries on the continent, for example, have spoken about the data requirements that go with some of these proposals in the whole package. These are conversations that we have bilaterally, and I'm sure will be resolved in a mutually acceptable way in due course.
Good day and welcome to today's broadcast, Tuesday, 21st April 2026. Today we are discussing the electoral process. Is going to be a dominant discussion every day. Share the broadcast. Is the volume okay? If the volume is okay, the visuals are okay, we can proceed. So share in the comment and share with your friends to demonstrate that we are live and to share with them these important updates we'll be taking. I rarely broadcast on Tuesdays and Thursdays unless there's something important that has come up. What has come up today is that tomorrow we have PF, Pamozi Alliance President, Makebi Zulu. He had his inaugural meeting yesterday. He had his central committee meeting. He had the management committee. And later he had a central committee. He's getting foothold of the Patriotic Front since he was elected. The Patriotic Front has an alliance called Pamozi Alliance. Remember the issue of Tonse Alliance and the breakup. They, Honorable Given Lubinda, at the time, named it Pamozi Alliance to dissociate from the other alliance. So a newly elected president of the PF and the Alliance Pamozi, Makebi Zulu, held his inaugural meeting yesterday, his central committee meeting. And tomorrow, I'm not going to preempt, he comes on the forum here at 20 hours. Don't miss the program. Let him tell us what is happening with the Patriotic Front. Since he took over, what are his plans? Will the party participate in the elections in 2026? How is he going around the illegalities, the legal crisis that the party has had since 2023? And how is he maneuvering with promoting unity within the party and then, reaching out to friends and colleagues in the opposition, such as Citizen First President Harry Kalawa, Socialist Party President Dr. Fred Membe, Kelvin Fuwebwalia, KBF, Zambia Must Prosper, and others. So Makebi Zulu will be here tomorrow. It is a reason we are broadcasting today, so that we can discuss other issues today, because tomorrow it will be his show, his vision, and what the Patriotic Front is doing in its current legal status and his prospects for the 2026 elections. I've played 2 key videos there. One is Mulambo Haimbe, the Minister of Foreign Affairs. He was quoted by international media saying Zambia has cleared all its debts with the International Monetary Fund. Of course, that's not true. There are only 2 countries that in Africa that have made such headlines, and someone was trying to mimic the same, I think. Mozambique has cleared its entire $750 million debt that it has with the IMF. No debt, no arrears, no nothing. Namibia had the Eurobond debt, and it has also done it in one bullet. There was an opportunity for Namibia to restructure its debt, push the payment plan to, like Zambia, maybe 2032, 2048, like Zambia has done. They said that would be very expensive because the annual fees, the annual debt service fees are extremely high. So before you even dismantle the principal amount, for every year you'll be paying these huge debt service obligations. So Namibia chose to do a one bullet payment, and they cleared the debt. So there was excitement by international media with what Mulambo Haimbe said. Of course, it's not true. Zambia just obtained a loan of $1.7 billion from the IMF. Remember, the last tranche was the other month for the disbursement of the $1.7 billion bailout. So to state that Zambia has cleared its debt was total misunderstanding and total misinformation. We expected an outright apology in light of the video evidence. I was surprised that the UPND were mocking me when I broke the news. They said, Emmanuel, that news, you have manufactured it, you have put it on a page you've manufactured. The page is calling itself Africa. It's not an African page, you are lying. Until we produce the evidence, and Ministry of Foreign Affairs were forced to issue what they termed a clarification, short of an apology, to state, to clarify what they meant. Zambia still owes $1.750 billion, $1.7 billion with the IMF. They are looking for another IMF bailout, which IMF refused last month. They said, no, your excessive expenditure, it's not going to social sector or public spending. It's going to consumption. It's election related. They don't want their monies committed to such reckless expenditure. So they've said we can only discuss with Zambia after the elections of 2026. So IMF has gone home. They will not discuss the new loan that Musokotwane is looking for. They are saying we are only coming back after the election. So the misinformation by Mulambo Haimba was highly regrettable, and instead of issuing an outright apology, they've issued another set of explanation. Just say we owe $1.7 billion to the IMF. Say you owe, is it $900 or $1 billion with World Bank? Say it. The numbers are very clear. Numbers don't lie. So Oliver, one of the M23 who likes to mock me on social media, went to town how I was telling lies, and he went extremely quiet when the evidence emerged that their minister had misinformed the world. We are used. When they lie, they keep quiet. Today we are discussing the electoral process, and when I come back after this short break, we go, is Zambia capable of holding, with all these threats, of holding democratic, credible, transparent, free and fair elections? Is it possible with all these threats? What happens to independent candidates? What happens to the candidates that will stand under political parties? What about candidates who may not be standing right with registrar of societies? What will happen? All those issues we are discussing. And what about the EPA? It has become known as the EPA, Electoral Process Act, but it's not an act yet, but many people are calling it EPA. Electoral Process Bill. It's supposed to be APB because it's still at a bill stage. It's not an act. So we'll be discussing the details and why stakeholders, why constitutional lawyers like Jonas Zimba has raised an alarm to all stakeholders that this law is bad for our country, and why the state and government is rummaging through it, parliament. And you know how weakened that parliament is. It's nothing to trust. That parliament is one of the worst parliament we've ever seen. It can't be trusted, it can't be relied upon. We saw how they unanimously passed Bill 7, a terrible law that has changed the entire system of our electoral system in one whip. And that parliament was regrettably a co-conspirator because of Indalama to that crisis. So let me take a 1-minute break, and when I come back, we delve into those issues. I played the video of the jet, the presidential jet, the Gulfstream G650. That Gulfstream is even fitted with anti-missile and there's an L-bit system, they call it something, I'll remember the word, when you speak to the generals from ZAF. It's one of the most advanced system, I think, that protects the jet if it's flying through threatened places and the jet can defend itself. That presidential jet, the Gulfstream G650, Ichilema said, I'll not jump on it. So you have a very expensive, very modern, ultra-modern jet to replace a 50-year-old presidential challenger, Idambamuna, which is in the colors of the 9J, in the colors of copper. That plane is 50 years old. And Chiluba tried to change it. Mwanawasa tried to change it. Every president has tried to change it. Now it's even far older. Those days, it was 30 years old. It's now 50-year-old. Many people feared that it should be relegated maybe to other duties or sold. It is a reason that in 2019, when government got a loan of $400 million to do Maina Soko, do military upgrades, they included the presidential plane. That plane came from a package of $400 million from a loan from Israel. And that's what built Medical Center, Maina Soko, the military upgrades that were done, and that plane. And Ichilema said the process was corrupt. He even pledged that he would sell that plane. Yesterday, lo and behold, to the spotters and watchers, they saw the jet yesterday, wherever it went. Some people have been speculating that it privately goes into Dubai. One time I remember exposing the details, flight radar that showed that the plane was parked in Dubai. ZAF were forced to say that the plane had gone for service, but it's something they had hidden. But with current technology, which documents all details, including presidential plane, even when you log them in as private or confidential, they still appear on radars. Why? Because you have to make declarations to many airspaces. If you're going to Dubai, you might have to declare if you're flying over Rwanda or over Tanzania, Kenya, Ethiopia, then, before you reach UAE, you have to make all these disclosures to these countries for permission for airspace. So flight radars, which are internet trackers of planes, would quickly note, this particular plane, whether it's logged in privately, confidentially, it will flag it off that is headed this, and when it parks, it parks. So I remember when I published that, they threatened the hell on me. When the information is publicly listed, the so-called information that is confidential even sometimes shocks me. For example, in Zambia, you can go to jail up to 25 years, minimum 15 years, if you publish what they call critical information. If I were to publish the full armory standing army and ZAF and ZNS of Zambia, that would be critical information, and I can be sent to 25 years in jail. But when you Google, everything is listed. So you wonder how these laws have never updated themselves, how the state worries about things that are openly available. Even a 9-year-old can find the information. I remember, and this is many years ago, 20 years ago, when we had an issue with Angola. And Angola, Dos Santos was literally at the verge at war with Zambia. They were trying to destroy Savimbi, who had enclave into Zambia. He would run to Zambia. And remember, somehow by marriage, Savimbi was related to Enoch Kavindele. And there were allegations that Zambia was participating in taking food for UNITA, and that there were various businessmen that were benefiting from that, getting a carpenter from Umpulungu and shipping it into Angola or Kalabo or Skongo or, a northwestern province and trafficking it across. So Angola complained to the UN, and the UN did an investigation, and the UN found that yes, Zambia was landing suspicious planes on Zambezi airstrip in Zambezi district. And they said likely Zambia was participating in this process. There was somehow some illegal trade of diamonds, food parcels, and even arms being exchanged. So there was a lot of anger from Angola. Angola said, we'll not just attack UNITA forces, we'll go to the front line and to its backers, meaning that they'll bring war to Zambia. And the Post were following that heated exchange. They published the UN report that indicted Zambia, that Zambia could have been enabling the illegal trade between UNITA, the rebels, and some Zambian businessmen. And so the tensions were so high. At the height of the tension, the Post published the might between Angola and Zambia. And they looked at the number of MiG jets that Angola had, number of MiG jets that Zambia had, number of tankers that Zambia had. So they did the comparison. Oh, weren't we beaten 4, 5 or 6 to 1? And it was a huge security story. People like Dixon Jele, Jerry Fred Membe, and others can tell that story. We were at the Post. But the defense by Fred Membe was that the information was openly available on the internet. What Zambia was guarding as secrets, even deploying, huge security police cordons at these security installations, was openly available on the internet. So sometimes the laws are so behind. Even our mindset is so behind. Because why? Remember when we had the Gabon disaster, the information began to come from Canada, the people that had built the Buffalo plane, while Zambia was guarding the information. And then you can't control information that has happened in international space, where we were trying to get hold of the information when there was so much information available outside government's control. So with the rise of internet, rise of open spaces, open information, open technologies, it becomes extremely difficult to classify what you may classify as critical information, because it's usually openly available. Okay, so we are discussing the electoral process. Every time something comes up in my mind, I like to discuss history and use the opportunity to educate one another. If you remember something, you can put it in the comments. So let's take a small break, and then I come back, we discuss the electoral process and the threats against it, and then you call to participate. So the Gulf Stream was seen. The Gulf Stream was seen at the airport yesterday. We don't know where it went, but it was seen, and it took a lot of interest to spotters who saw it. Where did it go? Why did it go where it went? Was it just doing a test run? Remember, President Hakainde Hichilema has pledged that he was going to sell the Gulf Stream. It's a national asset. It's a critical national asset. It requires parliamentary approval. Article 210, Sub-Article 2 is very clear on how you sell national assets. You require 2/3 majority. We know in the past on the sale of shares by ZCCMIH to Kansanshi copper and gold mine that Zambia did not bother to even go to parliament. They just sold and converted those shares without recourse to parliament. We saw in the sale of Mopani, 51% shares sold to foreigners, and again, government gave an excuse, including the Attorney General, who wrote an opinion on why they didn't need to go to parliament. But those are national assets and the Constitution. And our people and framers of the Constitution, remembering how Zambia lost up to 225 state-owned enterprises in one policy called privatization, guarded against future assets that they should never be sold without the consent of the people. Short of a referendum, they've said 2/3 majority from parliament. President Hakainde Hichilema has been circumventing that issue. We may not be surprised if he sold the jet under similar circumstances, like he has done to Kansanshi, copper and gold shares, where they were sold they were converted to a 3% annual, some annual fee that they pay, some 3% that they pay, and where we saw the shares of Mopani also sold under similar circumstances. Let's go to the electoral process. I think that stakeholders need to pay attention. It looks like the electoral process is locked to allow ECZ to manipulate. I'm using these words very carefully, but very strongly, to manipulate the process. And until you pay attention, you will just find that you've been knocked out. Presidential candidates, especially in the opposition, and your managers, you need to study this. Get dedicated officers to look at all this, including lawyers. There are a lot of pitfalls just in the next 30 days that have been laid. You might walk into one trap and fail to come out of it, and you lie disenfranchised. Please pay attention to what ECZ is doing. The current status is that the seats have been increased by 116. So Parliament will rise from 165 seats, and remember 165 arises from 156 constituency-based elections, 8 nominated, and the 3 presidium of speakers. So they constitute, it's a 165 member seat parliament at the moment. It's going to be, they've added 116 more seats. This is, remember, the 40 seats that will come from proportional representation to cater for women, youths, and persons with disability, and the 70 seats that have been added through delimitation. And also remember the 11 seats that are coming as a result of nomination by the president. It's rising, the number is rising from currently 8, the president will now nominate 9. So total 116 new seats are coming on board, plus 165, it gives you 281 seats. That parliament is already squeezed and full at 165. I don't know where the other 116 will come from. We saw some leaked conversations, leaked proposals from Cabinet Office where they were looking at setting up a new parliament in Choma or Livingstone. There are those proposals where a new parliament might be built in Choma or Livingstone, and we saw that leakage. Because the current parliament, even at 165, it looks extremely crowded. Imagine adding 116 new MPs in the next 90 days. We don't know where they will get the space from. Limbakula bulo tumastu wakula ikala. I don't know what you think. Where do you think the new MPs will sit? Give me your views in the comments, because Parliament is being increased from 165 MPs to 281. 40 that are rising from proportional representation, women, youths, and persons with disability. 11 nominated by the president, and the new 70 seats that have been added, 281 in total. Bakekala Kui, what are your thoughts? Bakekala Kui, Bakula no tupuna, or they'll sit in committee rooms. I'm actively thinking, because building a new parliament is minimum from a year to 3 years to 6 years, depending on how fast they design and plans. And will they do an extension at the current parliamentary grounds, because there's enough space there? Or these leaked proposals we heard from Cabinet Office, where they were trying to take a new parliament to Choma or Livingstone. We will see. And this is a purpose why government must disclose all these details. And for the parliament, just some brief background. We have one of the longest parliaments in Africa. You know, our parliament started sitting in 1924. Okay, not 1964, 1924. We are over 100 years old. But as at 1964, we had 75 seats. 1964 at independence, that parliament used to sit 75 seats. In 1968, the number rose to 105. 30 new seats were added from 75 to 105. When we went multi-party, when we went one-party state in 1973, the number rose from 105, 20 more seats, a number of 20 more seats were added, and it came to 125 seats. So Parliament for the next 17 years was 125 seats. In 1991, we're going to multi-party elections. We did new changes. Another 25 seats were added. So it became a 150-seat parliament. For the next 26 years until 2016, we were again just 150. But because of the new districts that were created, where in cases where the districts emerged, also emerged new constituencies. Remember, our constituencies are tied to a district. So when new districts emerged, it's mandatory that you create a constituency. So 6 constituencies emerged from that issues of brand new districts. And that's why we've had 156 MPs. And remember, I told you the 8 that are nominated by the president and the Presidium of Speakers, the 3 of them, they form 165. Now, with the changes that President Hakainde Hichilema has brought in Bill 7, and that's why we said Bill 7 required proper consultation, because the ramifications are huge. First, you have to look for a Land Cruiser for these 116 new MPs, besides your already 165. And one Land Cruiser is not cheap. They range from $120,000 to $200,000. So you have to look for these brand new Land Cruisers that each MP gets. The allowances, sitting allowances, travel allowances, constituency allowances, all these. Then you have to expand CDF by, again, to 281 constituencies. Staff that have to be employed. The financial implication, including the proposed building of a new parliament, becomes extremely profound. The costs are escalated, and we had hoped that in the current situation where government is stranded with resources, that they should have paid particular attention. The ECZ held that famous consultative forum that degenerated to comical and theatrical utterances. It was amusing to the country to watch, but it painted a picture that the opposition were not serious. And those serious discussions, whether by Harry Kalaba, by Sean Tembo, and by Jackson Silavwe were never broadcast. But what we saw, especially on introduction, it's like ECZ had planned this. And we have information that some of those that participated and introduced themselves do not even have a political party. And then we had the crisis, of course, out of legal issues, and I wouldn't want to blame ECZ for this particular one. The NDCs were two factions. The PF were two factions. New Congress Party were two factions. I didn't see the other faction, but UNIP were two factions. These are the result of the legal wrangling and mostly sponsored by the state. We saw that particular confusion, but of amusement were these comedians and people that just cheapened the entire debate. But key things were announced. Number one, that electoral process has effectively started. There was issue of a nomination fee, that the nomination fee for the president will rise from 95,000 kwacha to 100,000 kwacha. And it appears that ECZ wants you to pay, wants presidential candidates to pay when they are introducing the 1,000 that are required to be introduced to ECZ, 1,000 voters, 100 per province. Some of these parameters are defined in the Republican Constitution, some are not. Hence the Electoral Process Act of 2016 to provide for regulations of how an election should run. Now there is a proposal arising from Bill 7, which is now Article 13 of 2025, that there should be these amendments, Electoral Process Bill, that is sitting in Parliament. There are serious concerns there, but before I get there, is that they want you to pay nominations fees now before you introduce the 1,000. That is not what is provided for in the Constitution. In fact, the Constitution provides that you can pay then and now. You can pay at nomination, on nomination day you can pay. But ECZ has staged the process. It's like it wants to smoke out the president. That who are you? Who are you standing on? And what are your credentials? So at bringing of candidates, which will be earlier than nomination process, they want you to bring the 1,000. They want you to pay nomination fees. I think they want to scan the radar. Who are you? Who are you standing on? What party is sponsoring you or is with you? Are you standing as an independent? And remember, we've raised the whole issue around independence. The threats that we learned that government, ECZ, may not allow the independents. They will accept their forms and they might use administrative hurdles to stop them. And we've highlighted this in our previous discussion, but I'll speak to that just briefly. Two, when you go to pay nomination fees, of course, and you go with your running mate. It's at that stage that you disclose who your running mate. But it's like ECZ wants to know in advance who you are, and they've staged the process. You bring your 1,000, pay your nomination fees, and then come on nomination day, come and file. In the event that you didn't participate in this process and you want to bring the 1,000 on that day, well, unless you have resources on the actual nomination day, it's possible that you can bring the 1,000 across the provinces on the day of nomination and make disclosures there. Of course, the crisis and chaos will be where will you bring the 1,000, sit them, accommodate them, and you have to guard them that they are not in any way disturbed. ECZ wants a smooth. They are saying they want a smoother process. That's why they are doing this in advance. But you can turn up on nomination day with 1,000 supporters if they are representative from from polling stations across the country, as defined 100 per province. It's possible you can do that. But all these appear to be traps. Then the amended laws, first Bill 7, which has become Article 13 of 2025, a treacherous law, as we've stated. And then it is a basis for which the Electoral Process Bill, EPA, is being enacted. Remember, the Process Act, the Electoral Process Act, is a set of regulations on how to run elections. That's the whole purpose, because the Constitution and the Electoral Act prescribe broad principles, but the specifics, how votes are counted, how ballots are kept, what type of ballots are they, how secure are they, that is done through the Process Act, the Electoral Process Act. They are like a set of regulations. This is where we are saying most of the provisions in the current 2026 Electoral Process Bill seeking to amend Electoral Process Act of 2016. They are doing things that are flagrant to the Constitution, that are flagrant to the Electoral Act. We think that some of the provisions are not democratic, don't advance a free and fair elections. What are the concerns? First, government started with cyber crimes and cyber security laws that has shut down debate in our country. It has pushed debate to circles, to whispers. It has pushed it into dark corners, quiet meetings. Our people are afraid to write or speak openly. The right to express yourself has been taken away by these laws. Imagine a law that can accuse you that you've released critical information. And what is critical information? Where you can go in for 15 years. What is? So, for example, maybe if I were to publish a list of, I am personally alarmed that we are going to elections with government owing our people $12 billion. There's been so much hula baloo about foreign debt. They've restructured it. They've been paying from day one. But the local debt, $12 billion of it, has not been paid. So you're going to an election where there's no money in the economy, and Dakainde probably knows that, and that's why he's not paying that debt. But it's unfair to the businessmen. They worked for that money, they have certificates, they supplied goods and services, and you can't wait for 5 years, you have not paid them. The businessmen are the lifeblood of any country. They should be paid. You are owing them up to $12 billion. Look at your local debt. It's 252 billion kwacha. How much is 252 billion kwacha? What's the exchange rate? 18. Divide for me and tell me in the comment, how much is that in dollars? That's how much we owe our own people. And this has threatened and collapsed literally the economy, because imagine so much domestic debt, $12 billion owing your own people. You know, no multiplier effects, contracts and sites are closed, people can't supply, people have been evicted, are owing banks, entrepreneurs have died, are dying, you know, because of this huge debt. So imagine if I produce that list. Government can accuse me that I've produced critical information, and I can go to jail for 15 years. So the cyber laws have brought this uncertain silence in the nation. Even in an election year, our people are muted. They are watching who is looking at me. Even if they are writing on Facebook, sometimes I see people post comments and quickly delete. Why? They are afraid of ramifications. And when they call, they say they are calling as anonymous. Why? They have to protect themselves. The Cyber Crimes and Cyber Security Acts have brought silence. Bill 7 and EPA have just added to that environment that is taking away our rights. What are the concerns under the EPA concerns? I'll encourage you to go to Jonas Zimba's write-up. It's everywhere. Newspapers have quoted it. The Must, Daily Nation, it has been on my page and other pages. Look for that write-up. It has catalogued the threats that this bill brings, literally against the Constitution. It's not a good bill. But we don't know if our MPs will throw it out. Are you confident our MPs will throw this bill out? That parliament? Do you hope that that parliament will make changes? There are things like nominations should be subscribed. What do they mean? Nomination paper should be signed. What do you mean should be subscribed? What does that mean? You know, and independents appear excluded. And if an independent president wins, he appears excluded from proportional representation. And there are certain days that have been provided for in that bill, like 5 days for ECZ, which is not even supported by law. In fact, the law required that when you file, the electoral officer would tell you whether you've qualified or not, just there and then. But now they are seeking that they go retreat 5 days. We don't know who they'll be consulting. Then they come and tell you whether you've qualified as a candidate or not. And there's another matter for us. I've been involved in a PVT. You know, the parallel voter tabulation is critical to transparent elections. Very, very critical. And this is usually done by people that will be at the election center. That when the results are being announced, you can send someone with a phone and they will hear results at the polling station, because it's always been open to the public. But now they are making it an exclusive process of people that will be in the polling station. They are even providing for that as soon as you vote, leave the station. I remember in 2011, Mr. Sata told his supporters, come with your pen, don't trust ECZ, and stay. Mwalete obwali, mwalete fimbala, mwalete nshikaleni. Parepa kupenda, veni poido walependa mubepo. Mr. Sata was very resolved to take government. There are certain things you need to do. You just can't retreat and say you trust institutions such as ECZ. That we have demonstrated is not independent. The commission is not independent. The managers, the management is not independent. These are UPND personalities. Can you trust them to run an election and you go home at by ECZ, they are credible, they are an institution, therefore they will tell us a result. Are you sure you can do that? Are you sure? For the opposition, to win an election is just beyond rhetoric and campaigns. You have to put in these systems. How many polling stations do we have? 12,200. How many wards do we have? 1875, 1,875. How many totaling stations do we have? Do you have persons at every stage that can broadcast to your center your results? Elections is a process. Election is just not a one-day event. Elections have started already. What is happening today impacts what will happen on that day. And there's even a post-electoral process, because after you vote, what happens to your vote? Every stage is threatened. And sometimes we don't see that in the planning by our opposition. And that is why this particular clause in the electoral process bill is dangerous, which is saying, as soon as you vote, leave the station. If this passes, all of you will be chased. And remember, we've had problems with polling agents. Mwatuma wa polling agent wa UPND baisa wasa walopola baba tamfia. Na muleta wa goza and other, they just remove them. Bashara fewa ECZ na wa UPND. We saw that in Kawambwa by-election. We saw that in Pambashe. We saw that in Mwense. We saw that in Lumezi. We saw that in Imfuwe. Can you trust ECZ? Why are they pushing a clause like this that's taking away the transparency? What wukile zero for niwe? Once vale kanya for you to monitor elections. At no you bring congestion at a polling station. Our people are very respectful. They vote and they stay away. When you're opening the ballots, they begin to check and participate. That's how it has been since 1964. But ECZ says you are not allowed to be at the polling station. When you vote, you leave immediately. And they will ensure that the police are there to enforce that particular part. Because they will say your political party or your agents will be in the polling stations. But again, this is a process where they disenfranchise. This is a process which we know is highly undermined. Only the people are capable of protecting their own vote. Only the people. They are the first buffer and primary defense the opposition has, the people. Your members can be chased by the UPND. They can just accuse them of anything. We saw in the death of Jackson Kungo, alete fyakulya na menshi bebera chileta ma stuffed ballot baipayo mwana wabene wakaele. We saw party agents beaten severely in southern, western, northwestern province because the UPND just ran a negative campaign at they are carrying marked ballots, and the frenzy was raised across the country. If you strayed anywhere, they could have killed you. Remember, it's like if you are land at yo, nabanjibira maseti, the whole mob will just rise and beat you up. So polling agents can be accused of carrying ballot, stuffed ballot or pre-marked ballot papers, and then they are in trouble. They can be flushed out. The only defense is the people who wake up at 03, who stand in the queue in the sun, in the cold, in the rain, and vote. They're the only ones that can protect the vote. Our opposition, now move for. The last one of concern is this decision by ECZ that they want to remove the watermark, the stamp, and security features that are on the ballot paper. They want that removed. Why would you want to remove the features on a ballot paper? Something is happening. An election is a process. An election is not an event that will occur on 13th August. An election is a process beginning now. Let's hear from you. The lines are open. I was stating that I held the discussion today because tomorrow we have PF Pamosi Alliance President Makebi Zulu is coming at 20 hours to explain what they are doing in their alliance. He's just taken over the party. He held his inaugural Central Committee meeting. What are his plans? What are they preparing in light of the legal crisis that they're surrounded with? So that's why we're having this broadcast to discuss these other key matters. So what are your views? Today we are discussing the electoral process in Zambia capable of holding democratic, credible, transparent, free and fair elections as provided for by SADC, African Union, EU, and the UN protocols. With all these threats that I've highlighted, is it possible for the country to hold free and fair elections? And what can we do now? Are we just going to go blindly into this election, even if there are concerns around Mwangala Zalomis and McDonald Penzi, and now Zevyanji Sinkalau they are bringing, who are total party cadres, the issue of Brown Kasaro, who was found in 2016 trying to manipulate results for the UPND. Now he's in charge. And you have Dr. Kachaka. Similar allegations, both at UNZA and ECZ. They are now the ones that are in charge of the IT sections and the running of that elections. Are you blind to all these threats? You hope that these will be good men who will be loyal to the Constitution even when we have exposed their loyalties and how they've been placed there as deployees to make President Hakainde Hichilema win the 2026 elections? Why are you blind? Why are you comfortable? Tamkwetana referee when, but you are quick to go into that election and you are not raising a storm around the issues. Are you sure Mwangala Zalomis can run a free and fair elections? And by the way, remember what I said last week. She's highly qualified. She could be a 79-year-old woman, but she's highly qualified. She was UNIP member of Central Committee. She was UNIP lawyer. She was Dr. Kaunda's lawyer. The current laws you are seeing were crafted by her under the electoral technical committee, reform technical committee that she headed, appointed by President Levi Mwanawasa, and she created the foundation which caused the amendments to the Electoral Act of 2016 and the Electoral Process Act of 2016. She did that work. You cannot ignore her. So, but why is she doing all these things she's doing? Because she has knowledge of the electoral process. She's abusing the knowledge to advantage her party. And what are you doing about it?
Uhuru and my politics were political prosecution. Okay? Where now we are seeing the same things that is happening, you say, in development, where the civil servant, when a senior civil servant is visiting them, they parade a person, they say this and this. This is exactly what is doing in politics. In the first place, a political party is formed under an ideology. A political party is formed under an ideology. If there's a political party that has got no ideology, these are the political parties that they should be deregistered. It's just like churches. Today, I cannot be a Roman Catholic church. Tomorrow I wake up, I'm in RCZ. The other day I'm in Zion. The other day I'm in the seventh day. Then what am I standing for? Do I have any principles in the first place? Do I understand why the church I have joined is standing for? The answer is no. This is the political prostitution that we have seen in Eastern Province. I'm talking about in Eastern Province because that is where my mandate is. And the political parties that are receiving people that are defecting from this party to this party, they must be very, very careful. They must be very, very careful.
Mauka Bwanji bonse. Mazina yanga ndine Vincent Chaire, President for Radical Revolutionary Party. So, I came alone for security reasons. Usually radicals always move along.
Please don't go into those issues. Just introduce yourself. We are trying to manage time here. May I request our
party? My team is on its way up to here. Thank you very much. Sorry, I left out one thing. Ours is Reasoning Assurance Party. Tontonkanya, Elio vote.
May I just interrupt you there, please?
I am the Vice President of the Mother Party, UNIP. I will be joined by the Secretary General, Reverend Alfred Banda. Do not worry about masqueraders who say that they are unique. No.
Now we are going somewhere else.
My name is Chanda David. I'm the president for Young Leaders Art Club Zambia Association.
My name is Harry Kalaba. I am the president of the Citizens First. I have come with Secretary General Vincent Chintu, Deputy Secretary General Kasese Bota, Elections Chairperson Martin Kaluba, and Campaign Manager Stanley Muhango. But just a quick one, next time we should keep time ECZ. If we say it's 9 hours, let's keep 9 hours. Thank you so much.
ECZ and ZMBC didn't show the serious conversations by serious people like Harry Kalaba. They entertained the country with the clowns we saw. The lines are open. I've discussed various issues, but essentially our anchor today is free and fair elections. Is it possible with all these threats that we are seeing? One, in the amendment of the laws, starting with Bill 7, which amended the Constitution and became Article 13 of 2025. We've seen the confusion already, where they don't seem to have done a good job. You saw something went viral today, where they are saying on first past the post, Zambia already has a 50+1, and then you have proportional representation. There's only one section, the constituency-based seats, where you win by first past the post. You have a mixed member proportion now. some by proportional representation, others by first past the post, and the other one, the majoritarian rule of 50+1 for the president. But you've seen the wording in the electoral process bill, and it's extremely confusing, and people have taken advantage of that, and they are mocking the Attorney General. And the line is open. Let's hear from you. What are your views? So we've discussed the electoral process bill and the threats against free and fair elections, and I've also discussed the electoral calendar, where you're supposed to pay nomination fee and bring the 1,000. I also discussed the issue of the Gulf Stream. You are aware that it's been packed for the last 5 years. President Hakainde Hichilema will not use a very expensive piece. He would rather charter or use a 50-year-old plane. We saw it leave ZAF base yesterday and come back. And what are the issues? Then the other things I think we discussed, I think those are the three major issues around nominations, the amended laws, and the Gulf Stream. If you have anything to say, I think I already have a first caller. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from, and give us your contributions.
I'm calling from East London, Caroline.
Caroline, my dear sister, make your contributions.
Yes, mwaikarashani ba mwamba mwempalume eso.
Iyo ifo tsakamana fiechalo tatulala.
I know, that's why I call. You know, tulimudenja ba mwamba, tulimudenja wendume andi. Cause kumona fenefi alechitika fe kula kwine KCZ, it was a circus. It wasn't like something serious. But ichikuloto na phoning achakwe bati ifwe bantu ngana nabamona fyefire chitika ofo bachitire setup yi ya mingalato tekwe shamwe mazambia ni ukufumako ngabamba tukuvota tifibalanda tukufumako iye achitire mingalato fyengishisha na bakapokola ukwe bati bakale tutamfya tekwesho kumulekela fyonse fyo fyaletere mingala tona ishono kuishibaza kainde he can't make it ifyone fyona ishiba olone fyakwe batindeke ino stage alo chali anguka takwali kwati fyakale fya mkolonyo ngolefu afye anything you want kuyafe ku Google fyonse fintu fyaleta so tetbalanda tiyo wafunya secret ya chalo ino sitata kwa ba secret as long as kwaliba ama smartphone kwaliba everything if yakwe bati tule ofole folks echa twafimona so ama Zambian bafuine ba isula no mbamenso if fyonse fyakwe bati afyo bale folks ta remove ama nantane kuma ballot paper if yakwe bati chani fyonse fyo file leta danger ni danger tulimo tekwesho kwebati ifo tukafumeko ati abaka kaunti amanani kali ifo natukwate ensambu nga natuya mukuvota natukwata nensambu yakweba tulonde anti unga bafumapo namanamba yakwebati opo bashalani apa tufune tuachita capture efyo ndefo okulanda kubena Zambia.
Thank you, my dear sister. You are right. The Zambians, the voters themselves have to protect the vote itself. Wavota nuobukire 04 ero waibati hao bakutamfya pwati yo balapenda na ngutauliko. Can you trust that process?
So kweba kwete amaka ya kweba tuloleshe ama vote yesu ni fwewe because ishima ingala tonga tualeka fye ine fye ngatualeka ba mwamba wesu ngatualeke ine fye ya chitafe slide we are gone takuli Zambia again because na isho no kushwa tena tete apiti olo ba sorry ba mwangala za romis na bakula bali na 70 shani uko kashina iba na 70 shani na bakula bafile ba retire why they keep her so long? She's old. She was supposed to stop when she was 65. Now she's over 70.
Thank you very much, my sister. Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contributions.
Hello, good evening, Ambassador Mwamba. Nineba nani masukwa kaputa kuno mkwai mwabombe.
Mwebe na kaputa mwashibukeni yola ndeni pomayo.
Tulifiwe ino kumubiri nomba amano ye na mwandini na tuntonshiwa. ine natira fenande kofe nakuli UPND member onse uliko n'emyaka ukufuna pala pali bamayobe ne ba Mutaina Lumango bamayoba Salomis na bonse fe ba VJ Mwanga abali parties ya pitakale abali mu UPND n'abali other political abali mu UPND especially shishu abakalamba bandi aboninga lumbulapo abaliko mu UNIP babakona mu MMD na mu PF nokushinta pano twafike lelo pa UPND mwe abantu bakwalesa mayo bamutalina Lumango mayo bamwagala Salomis ukufuma pali bakawunda nga kwabo okuvota tatwinuka pa polling station mpaka bapenda nga amavotes yalefuma kwa Shangombo yalefuma ku Ikelengi yalefuma kwa Namutukusha yalefuma kuno kwa Kaputa abena Kaputa tatuselapo mpaka bapenda basenda ifanishina tuishi bachu weso awina uyina alusa muze mu UNIP mu balekanga na ba UNIP beka bose nishipishwa kitawunda awina ichula na chilusa panduliga efe twasungirwe nibakaunda turesala balelwa nechula kaishtu alesa lafiba kaunda choice alipo nomba ile loba mayoba Salomis Mwangala na lomba fimwe na Zambia wose ko muri kutira pele niko ba mayoba Salomis Mwangala akaka message ni ba mayoba Mutaina Lumango ne ba Venon Mwanga bana bambya mutwinge bushapo abakalamba kutira ala ebeni ba president akainde ukuthi ikintu bala kita chilubo elo ichilubo mu bwingo bwanshiku chikabalula pa mutwe wabo ukutukanya fuyima voters ukupembelela ukupendela otuntu tufwebele tusalire tusalire tukalo kumunati awina tumusubengula ngaire ankula tusube emyaka n'emyaka twala suba shani ino ishitamu suba powder nobunga bwatute ala nimpemba twale suba kalelo cyali Zambia twafuma muri lwamwisa kashi lelo cyabashani uko batatu akakitekira chila ilyo weso awina awe inena sala na yushapo abantu batatu aba mayoba Salomis Mwangala kokwine muri kuyiCZ naba Brown Kasalo bene n'abachinchila bali vota ko muri kaunda na muri Kibuba na puli abaponse ba mayoba Salomis Mwangala mayoba Mutaina Lumango ba Brown ubene ba Kasalo na ba Venon Mwanga mwe bantu mwibusheko nabambi abakulu kabebe ni kweyimbila muti imyaka yonse tukatu turapembera bapenda ingelelo chinshi chaisa fe mu UPND mweka elo ibusheni ni muno mwenye mu UPND mulelenga kuma high court milandu ilebelukila fyolu balilumu ni muno mwine mu UPND mulela ngokwe bati nangu fana mushiningisha minister wenu na rufyanya tapali chile mwikata ifire ikata ba mu opposition tesa Zambia yabefi ni muno mwine mu UPND twamuno obuteko bwantanshi ukuyingisha bakapokola ba home affairs minister ba Mwimbu baletino kuti yo we have to kuchinja fintu illegally abashirika aba ukubalemba mu musango wa administration ya Kisungu fyafuma kuno kwine kubasungu mwaikala ba mwamba ku America na ku UK ngabale ingisha abashirika kuma Canada Australia konsoko balakita publish pa newspapers yabo balakita publish pa TV yabo nangu mumba mo balenda abantu pa TV yamma wofi muma filefi ma mwefi mashop fingi chilelanga ati the shani Her Majesty's Army is employing. So if Her Majesty's Army is employing ballot to publish, what's wrong that the Zambian Army should employ and hide? Why should the Zambian Army employ and hide? The Zambian police employ and hide. Finish security ya Zambia chimida masana ya kula mukutiro kukumbi kubasungu babe perefio bufi. Abo bengishe bapisa lete chimfulunganya part time of voting. Abo bene ebakala pasana abantu abeshire mu kuvota okube batita mwapembere ama elections yapendwe takwa benkama ya chalo yo Zambia Ingalanda tiyari kwata utapali development Zambia Ingalanda tinai kwata sana so nombala baba advanced ba Zambian security pakuinkisha bakapokola kuttenkama nenkama nshipantu mwalileta abashirika baku America uko mwabafisati muitati chinshikire cyo baleta the US Army on the grounds of Zambia the Pacific region tabamitemwa over that. You have made a threat mu environment apo side. Munangagwa asaba ilaya na kukweba ba Russia ati Zambia na ileta ba America na inenjimini nako. Can you imagine? ni security nshimwakwata po pachalo pantu baalishwe na bedrooms yenu wonse mwaleta ba America pamishi pamienu elo miye bika bakapokolo kwati abachinshi abo bakainde nga chachi nefe muli mwaume muli ilamba nga chachi nefe muli mwaume muli ilamba mulingilefe okuya kuma elections n'amafunde ya ECZ yekalefu yaikala bamayo bazalomisi mwangala nimoba bakangalila oko chibe mbandelanda mwangala lishina kangalila uyo waba in charge uko mwalifishi bafyonsefo so ifya kulatamfya kwa abantu ko kuma elections mukesepanga kuma tear gas nefya fula kubake kati abantu bakafwenge bafuye ku Tanzania twakana pachalo cha Zambia mwandini tatwa kwatama Zambia yabiri nangu ya tatu kwa efe Zambia yinga imu one Zambia litwebele kaleka onda one Zambia chapo so tatulefwaye chimfunganye chukwena kwate niko fyamano even you an individual a support of UPND mchinshi watontonkanya for 20 years that ba UPND mwaleluisha okuteka takwa balita kuba president untu bakainde baluishenye nankwe uwakenye ama voters kupembelera ngani mu 2016 bamayo bamutalena lumango bale bakala pansi pali abati ngatatwa wine mulemo no mulopa that video I wish it can be retracted saying traced back mwatamba uko bale ikaka pa polling station bamayo bamutaina lumango uti mulemo no mulopa pano na mayo ifo tumoni omulopa fwebe kala chalo na iweni wena mayo na ifo tudibana mayo abana nabe shikulu besu why was she doing that icho kwali nsambu yakutira kupembelera bapende ama votes elo lero besi bapiribuke mayo esubwesheni femiti makebe ni ba president akainda to your excellency ilifunde liena babu esubshenimo because ba ECZ abumulitira ba ECZ ala mumbo kulira ni pakutira kuli kwa shintilile ba mwangala kuti bashibuka fyati yo twakanya tamwakeseko kuno kutoka mifumi yako nga mwavota kuyafye kwati ni kumanda twashiko umuntu yutuleya no not kwatama votes trefa tumone ule wina mkwale pompelele lero.
Thank you, my dear sister from Kaputa, woman of wisdom. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and give us your contribution.
Okay, good evening. My name is Matero.
Yes, my brother, make your contributions.
Okay. My contribution is just simple, Mr. Mwamba. Our observation currently is based on unity. We just want unity from this current opposition we have in this country. Imagine if Mr. Hari Kalava can wish to learn for himself, thinking that he's going to win, he's just wasting his time. Thinking of Honorable Mizuru, if he thinks he can go for himself and win this, he can't. Same applies to Blani Munduvire, Socialist Party Fred member. And all the opposition current leaders we have. This is just a simple call that we have with the citizens, we who are voters. Last time, I even complained to say it's just wasting time if these people, they will just go for themselves on that voting day, if they will think they will win. They are just wasting their time. What we want with the voters is to see these current leaders, opposition, to unite, because HH is not going to give them chance. If HH carries the day this come August 13th, mark my word, all those ones like Abena Harikala who are not touched this time around, it will be waste to them. Nothing that they will be doing, those guys. This time around, we are witnessing ECZ. It's like ECZ is an institution which is above our current constitution of this country, Zambia, because ECZ they are at liberty to make laws. They are forgetting that there's what we call a Republican constitution. This constitution that we are having is the one which is guiding each and everyone, each and every institution, each and every organization in this country. And then there's what we call three arms of our government. There's judiciary, there's executive, there's this one.
Legislature and executive, yeah.
I don't know the word I can use. So we have
legislature.
The government. It simply means each arm of the government is checking each other. So now we are with this executive arm of government. It's like they are above our constitution, our public constitution, which is supposed.
Thank you, my brother. Your line is now cutting, but you can call back. But I think we got your gist. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contributions.
Good evening, Your Excellency.
Good evening.
My name is Hendrix, calling from Lusaka.
Let me just add volume. Yes, my brother Hendrix, make your contributions.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I think, Your Excellency, it's very important that ECZ should know that the qualification of every presidential candidate, area member of parliament candidates, MPs, councillors, and so on and so forth, are enshrined in our constitution. I think our constitution is a supreme law that will guide us on how best a candidate must qualify to be presidential, an MP, or a councillor. I think what the ECZ are trying to do, Your Excellency, or the proposal that the ECZ are bringing up are not welcome. Because ECZ is supposed to be a referee. This is our election as political parties and the people of Zambia. And they are just there as a referee, just like it is in football. You have Manchester, you have the other team, they are playing. A referee will not come and say, no, this team must be like this team must be like this. No. That's not the way it's supposed to be. I think our message is that let's follow what the Constitution says. The Constitution says about presidential candidates, about MPs, about councillors. That's what we need to follow. The engagement of stakeholders by ECZ is most welcome, and that must continue. And it's not just be a meeting where the stakeholders are talking and the ECZ are not putting in account of what the stakeholders are saying. So for us, Your Excellency, we are against of these laws that are coming as we are about to start going to campaigns and elections. We are not happy, Your Excellency. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. ECZ is proposing in the electoral process bill that you should leave after you vote. They want to remove security features to the ballot paper. What are your views? Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello. Anonymous, I'm calling from Northwestern Province, Zambia.
Anonymous, make your contributions.
Yes, I think, Ambassador, I think Zambia, the problem we have is Akainde Chilema, because if you have seen the past years, from the time he came to power, I think he's a man who is controlling everyone. Paripanga mafunde lwati, mafunde inga msutinga. Yawe teresaka mara papari ifufima Zambians, and we the Zambians, we should rise and defend our rights. Otherwise, we cannot manipulate by one individual man. I think we should talk of discrimination because we are suffering. The Zambia is suffering. We have got 21 Zambia. We have got 21 Zambia. We have another Zambia. 30 Zambia. We need to protect our country. The problem we have in Zambia is Akainde. So on 13th August, my fellow Zambians, let's wake up early in the morning. Let's go and vote him out and defend our voters. Come from here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. The lines are piling, which is very good. This is your election. You should tell us what your views are. There are various processes that ECZ is engaged that is threatening the holding of free and fair elections. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, good evening, Mwamba. This is Mama T.
Mama T, good evening.
Zambia.
Thank you very much, Mama.
Mkwai. Mwamba, umulopa na ukamanumba. Ndemye vechinga. Ifyo ngumfuire. Na mwishiba, mwema Zambianzi, na tuiminine pamu. Tuikatishanye. Like we are saying, every time this is the cause that we are talking about. Let's unite. For us to win this fight, we need to unite. Ngata stay united, tapale feto alashita achieve. What can we do to stop this money from
manipulating ama-elections ayotwala akwata mu August. Tentwikatishanye. There is no way bengalanda okwebati bafunyepo efidindo bafunyepo finshi pama ballot papers. How are we going to know? A death stamp is very important. We should know when we voted. Echarerapo death stamp. Death stamp ilaranga okwebati ama-elections took place on this day, this year, nefyo finefyo ashala. Nombecho balafumishapo echidindo ni chinshi. Bamayo bamwangalaza lomisi. Twamiromba. Mwireta omuliro mu kyalo kya Zambia awe. Muli baana kashi. Namukula kale imwe. Mwiwona wira abaana bano amayuthi future yabo. Zambia, like my sisters said from Kaputa. Twakwata fye Zambia inga. Imwe fyo balelanda basata. Twakwata fye Zambia imo. Takwaba Zambia imbu takulina kumbi oko tukaya ni Zambia yo twakwata. Imwe bakayinde imwe. Ifyo fyo mulechita ngefyo balechita banenu nga mwali baba president imwe bantu mwe bakayinde mwale imininina mwalela ndefiri fyonse fyo mwinga fwaya. But this time around you don't want people to talk. You don't want people to voice out. Why bakayinde? Ukumipera pawo kwebati mwe ba president nishitwa panga mistake. Awe bakayinde tefye chalo chifuire chaba. Ichalo echi ichalo chesu bonse techalo chenu awe. Ukumipera bu president tekwebati bali mipera ichalo kwebati ichalo chabe ichalo chenu mule chinja fya malamulopo nga mwabuka yo mwashtari recruit 4,000 people. We want you to explain why recruiting people in secrecy without even informing the nation kwebati tuleshtari recruit ba polisi. Abo bene mwashtari recruit ba polisi abo. Bamo bene obo mulefu amukalete nomba pantu 4,000 ni namba ikulu sana. Mukalete nomba ma polling stations umo ukwebati bakamba okutushita harasi fwe bantu. Ngecha shupe cha kwebati mulete amalamulo ya kwebati abantu bakafume pa polling station nishipantu. Mukashale mule stafinshi bakayinde ichilema. And then my appeal to the leaders, our leaders, please na papata. Every time undande fifine. Mwema leaders besu. Ikale ni panchi, chiteni unite. Moneni akayinde fi arresta olo ali mu opposition. Whatever kaishu akanono, nishala ya alapanga ma press conference ala stashani. Akulandeni. Speak so that people can hear you. Aikono kutina iyo. Uyo akainde mwampera makapantu mulela ngo kwebati mule mutina sana. Echale ngo kwebati akwate ififine fya rechita. Mwamoneni. Ambira pali baboma ni lusambo kupoka siti ababoma ni lusambo na bajo maranji. Amuno kwebati tapali ulelanda. Ambo kuchinja fya malamulo fili fyonse. Iyo endeke na isa. Tatumfire pone fili fyonse. What is happening? Tueleni. Abo bajaki mwimbo abo batino kuti recruitment bra 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 tabalelanda fituntulu. Nishichine chalo twali batera. Yabani famu yabo nomba. Abo tefe chifuire okuba mwe bantu bakwalesa.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much,
ma'am. Let's finish this problem. Pass 18th August. If we have a problem, we have to quit. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution. Hello, caller.
Ambassador, this
Good.
is Dr. K from Lusaka.
Yes, my brother. Make your contribution.
Yes, Ambassador. You know, ECZ is really giving us a lot of headaches. Yeah, we thought that by them calling the consultation meeting, these are the things that they are going to be discussing, including what they are bringing in that bill. Yeah, but the things that we are seeing by Manuel, they are really constant. And like children who are like orphans, we don't have a father. And our opposition political parties are also putting a lot of pressure on ECZ for them to account for this wrong wrong suggestions that they are bringing. You know, we have got the supreme law, the constitution, but that constitution is not being respected. Instead, they are bringing in mechanisms that will just lead to us not having a free and fair election. Because these elections are about us, the Zambian citizens, to choose which leaders we should be able to have come August 13th. Now, it looks like ECZ is not playing that role of being a body that will be like a referee and ensure that they deliver a credible, free and fair election. And now, what is happening is them, you know, today I was just listening to Kasaru. Of course, I didn't finish the interview. The journalists also are not helping in asking those pertinent questions so that the ECZ can be accountable to the people, because that institution is the same quasi-government institution which is responsible to ensure that there is free and fair elections. But all they are looking at is how to defranchise, you know, how to make sure that so and so candidate should not be on the ballot paper, and they're just making sure that the people should not protect their votes. Instead, they are suggesting that once you vote, you go home and wait for them to tell you what the results are. I think that's not what it's supposed to be. And we know that the polling assistants are always intimidated. In some cases, they are beaten and they leave the polling station, and then the ECZ now can do whatever they want to do in favor of the ruling party. So our democracy is under threat, be it the judicature, be it the parliament. You know, they are all responding to what the executive is demanding so that they continue to remain in power, which is very, very unfortunate, Ambassador.
Thank you.
So now we are in a situation where we are asking ourselves, what can we do as citizens? You know, who can help us in this situation? Because it looks like, you know, the government has got an upper hand in this case. They have the security wings, they have silenced everyone, and everyone is like just, you know, moving in fear, be it the judiciary, you know, everything is just like in chaos in my view. And we seem to be a bit hopeless, you know, as citizens. Yes, we can tend to God to pray and trust God for a miracle, but there must be steps that we need to take in order for us to have a free and fair election. So we are in this situation where if we think critically, you know, we seem like we explode. You know, we have headaches. We don't know what to do. If we try to do something, the police cannot give you a permit. There's all these maneuvers, you know, around. And therefore, we don't know whether we should turn to the international community, whether we should turn to AU. It's like this is the situation, and the government is determined to go that route. So by Mano Mamba, we are really in a very difficult situation. We hope that the opposition can unite and command one voice and be able to direct the people on what they need to do. Also, the civil society organizations, they are so quiet. It's like they don't exist in Zambia. They have been silenced. They are afraid of cyber laws and whatever. But we are in this situation where we may not have a free and fair election by Mano Mamba.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you
so much.
So many callers are waiting. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Ambassador Mwabombeni.
Endita ya Mwabombeni.
Ba ambassador ine contribution ya ndinefa munga suke. Mnamfa ambassador.
Iyo ndeo mfa London yama.
Wanu namuleta subject isuma sana lelo. And I'm going to discuss a number of issues kuti mutu asuke. One, Bushe. I na my election twala kwata Zambia. You as an ambassador, a person, or mlomuchalo twa issue watu ambassador mwali bomba sana na ma international community. Since not kwate fresh fingi, if it's a danger to the democracy of this country, what is the position of the international community? Because ido ba church na UPND ba limu opposition ba ambassador. We saw Patricia Scotland came in. We saw Professor Gambara coming in. We saw European Union. We saw American ambassador. We saw all the different international cooperative partners speak on the behalf of President Hakainde Hichilema and UPND. What has gone wrong to the Zambian people today? You saw what has happened to Bill 7. The international community is quiet. See what is happening into parliament. People are closing the floors. None of the international community is raising the flag. They are introducing a new law in this year election. The international communities are very quiet. We are all wondering, is it that maybe the UPN and President Hakainde Hichilema mwana wawo, is it their project? It's a Western project so that the international community, they're so silent. These are the people who started preaching about democracy. When they have seen democracy is being undermining, where are they? Where is the American ambassador? Where is the British ambassador? Where is the German ambassador? Where is the European Union? Where is African Union? Where is the international community? While we are seeing things that are falling apart, are they just waiting? Am I election? Legal people have been murdered, killed. Issue a statement, or is it possible for them this time to prevent this? Ambassador, you have got that capacity. You understand these things. Where is the international community on this? That is number one. Number two, ambassador, if you later election bill, they have taken the bill, the new proposal on the election process. Na parliament, yes. Ambassador, those people in the parliament are not representing the people. They're representing their own interests. There is nothing we are going to get from that. It can even pass in 3 days. The first day, it is going to have a first reading. The second day, the second reading. The third day to be the final. But MP to go to parliament, they are not representing the people from where they come from. But they start represent their own interests. And no any Zambian should expect. Takuli umwina Zambia when they expect that those MPs, they can defend their interests. Kutibalole shesho mazambian wale fire. Takuli nangu chimo. Icho ambassador ndemieba. Number 3, we have got 12,551 polling station, which is almost close to 30,000 polling assistant and agents. Not quite 226 constituencies. Abake meaning not quite 1,300 and something, almost councillors, not quite almost 100 and something mayors. At this moment, ambassador, and the situation to Kwetemu Chalo, do we have a political party which has got capacity to organize these people? Well, that's why the Zambian people, president, takuli political party ndakwanisha 30,000 polling agents and assistants. Ambassador, I'm drawing you back. What happened in northwestern province? Congo Valley Mwipaya, he was murdered during the day of voting by Mwipaya Congo. Nama election ya Lubana northwestern, takwa no was remonta. No one was monitoring election in southern province. No one was monitoring election in western province. Nombai nefini wale eleta amafundo kuti bachinje if you my election in parliament. What is going to happen? Ba opposition political party mwiyumfwa mwimama bakauti mwala kwanisha teti mumu kwanisha oyo muntu teti mukwanisha echichilwani na chima pasweka takulinda kwanisha 30,000 polling agents and assistants. If PF are in government, Baba Paila provincial chairman, pabushikuwa amavoti nga imwe mwe bali kunseni mwe banani so ichefyeni apa kulubula bena Zambia mwibula igo yena ngokufa kwenu mubike kuntanshi loleshe na amazambia nifyo balechula amazambia nibushe balelia bushe amazambia nifirenda bwino efe loleshe niko chimbi ambassador ayama constituencies bapangile onse 70 ngamwalolesha bonse bali abantu abavotele bio 7 na bapela ma constituency yanyu na bachitaona. I'll give you a practical example. In Luapura province, kwaliba mambilima, mwense, na mwasabombwe. Pantu kulio kuntu, mwata kazembe, alima paswe kokwebati. Teti munka kiraba na bandi mule bashupa. Inende fire, justice. Ayama constituencies, takwalife bachitireko. Nga kuli muchalo muno. Ukwaba poverty, ukushaba development, nikulu apula. But mwone na ma constituencies yambio bashitre, bapera ma new constituencies, pantunish, pantu bali abantu, bali ba compromise. Ambassador, nde milomba imwe, ne chance chinalesa, wisdom ya mipela, balo ndolwele ni bonsama opposition, tabakwe ete capacity ya kuimina palibena, chila muntu paeka, bafili ba imina pa mopene bonse, baka na ma province according to the political parties, kana mkwata 4 legs, mwala, or 5 legs, mwala kana ama province ya wili kuti muchinshe chilwani. Otherwise, iituli mwei, lusambu, no shalimo, akabamo. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Sorry for.
Ambassador Mwabombe Mkwai.
And Stamkwai, please tell us your name and make your contribution.
Mama Nyirenda ndetumina kusuvalesti.
Mama Nyirenda
Ambassador. Ichalo tulipo nomba chilipa muliro. Tuli Sodoma na Gomora. Na lako nkakwati balande ba brother bafuminepo abo kwe bati ba opposition obvious bale kutikoku bamndubire ba makebi ba bwaliafu be bonza ma opposition yabe na hali kalaba bale kutika kuli program hii lelo ngazona baisa mkulubula fwe bantu muno Zambia bafunyepo bukaitemwe bantu ukemi nafete awe njimi nefeneka bakayumfo kwa bati bonfuisha bwino family yabo awo tuli Sodoma na Gomora ala tulechula fwe bantu monena mala muno balepanga babantu lero kuti bapange yi mailo baisa panga ija ile de baisa panga ija tapali umuntu ule imokwe bati alande ndei bukishana amashu balandira basato kwe bati mwewa sambirira mwalishishita ero mwalirana abantu abalelanda nakusepa filimba kuno bandala bakwatinga mwaba moneza bakwete pwa makaya kwa kuti bayechechi kuti babo mfawe bayechechi ndai mukishana amashimu yabaka undo kweba kwati uyu muntu ngaisa akesa ulaule chalo buseteti baibwera maja amashimu balandire bakaundo kwati please twapapata mwema Zambian tukalolera amavoti ene balelanda andaba nga twafako kwa tukalolera amavoti nyaba bene ba opposition bantu bose na baitemwa bakumfuika bananyenda ni ba MP abo bananyenda ni ba president baso bananyenda ni baso ushete bale mwana manchester leftamo mwana na bene goma lusambo bale bola mnani kani mjere bachi nani kani bakaka abantu kumirandu fye ishirondweke iyakwe batewa achitiro munankwe ebena nga opposition ya chito mlandu ulya kukaka bena ba ruling party takuru kubakaka chalo chashan please twapapata ichalo chileo nauka mwema opposition fe na mulala balengi shenchito basala fya bana babo mlemfofe pa news umuntu fya imatawe na bengi shenchito kubaka na baka na palasi batampo kula pelama statement nibo opposition zona nibo opposition bashani inendebule maba opposition bonse bantu na baitemwa tabale fwa okutulubula fwe bantu katwikale bwino zona abala HH pakuisa bala ndoko ati mkalashito bunga 50 kwacha fertilizer 250 eza tulemo na sure but nabekala bena balife nabekala fenga nabekala nabana babo balelilapo so ababa opposition ngatabai katane nangu baingira mu parliament ama MPs bekalanda bokutulandako fwe bantu fanta bakwetoluse nangu babe na leaders abaleti mama president nga bakemina fye wanu nga balusa bakekale fezi nangu ifintu fikale ona okashani bakalero leshafe pantu na batulekelelesha kwa batikatwishe zona chati zinkala munga kutika ya munga sisi aloshatu zona kwati chafe chabaye chechibeka epo bayimi nafye balefo okututanyife fine shuwa mwe bantu bakwalesa ichalo chesu zona echo atupera lesa Zambia ine filafina shanda sister wandu kwati Zambia twakwatanimo taya batenya bene nangu fye nkondo kuti yayima muno bakasenda abana baona mandeke bakema ngaifo fwe bale matuka ya kwisa tukabutuka shani ngaba kote bakabutukira kwisa tulekala shano no mwesu takuri ukulanda ukuthi no kulanda chawe saibalo bati bena balera ndape balefo aida bati umuntu fye umbingalanda ko feni jere tieni tamule umfonu se mama opposition mwe balefo minafyo tuma party tushilondoleke zona imwe bantu ikataneni ngazona mwali tutemwa ikataneni funyeni po buka itemwe funyeni po kwa timukano ngefe na abana benu ineli monda tondonga yo kwati abantu zona badi ba serious nangu badi pilafye ndai bukishamashi balandire basatokati elo badi mu ruling party na bakaunda nga balushanya bale bashusha bale tali kana mnamwine mu parliament but yali party mu what mama ba democracy abamo kuti bashira kutali ko muntu zona umuntu aleshe fintu philosophy alefaya aba mwamba kwali basai balo kuti bakukagala mulale buno na totela.
Thank you, my dear sister. Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from, and make your contribution.
This is Mwewa. Today I'm calling you from Kaoma.
Yes, Mwewa. Make your contribution.
Yes, thank you so much. You know, in as much as we are complaining about what the UPND is bringing in terms of electoral changes and other funny rules that the UPND have brought, if we don't unite in the opposition, I think we are not going to go anywhere. We cannot be call ourselves to win August if at all we go with a disunited opposition. Now, specifically, let me handle the issue of the Patriotic Front first. As you may be aware, there are almost 3 factions in the Patriotic Front. There is that faction that first of all broke away for Honorable Brian Mundubile. There is now this faction of Mao Sampa and this faction of Makebi Zulu. Now, these guys, for example, Mao Sampa and Honorable Brian Mundubile, because Makebi Zulu won his presidency by a popular votes. He was voted in by almost 111 districts in that convention. So he's a legitimate president, and the Zambians know that fact because he came in through a vote, and I think it was the will of the people. Now, these two, the way Honorable Mundubile, for example, broke away from the party to go and become the Tonse president. How did he broke away? Was it legal? Okay, so when you talk about legitimacy, Honorable Brian Mundubile must understand that there is no legitimacy in what he did with Tonse. And he must realize that what we are fighting here is a bigger picture. We are fighting for this country, Zambia. Therefore, we need each and everyone on board. So Honorable Brian Mundubile must realize and consider the type of battle he's fighting. Is it that battle that should liberate Zambians, or is the battle that should usher him as the president. Oh, same applies to Honorable Mao Sampa and his team. They must look at the bigger picture. Looking at it's a liberation struggle. So why are they doing things that are upsetting Zambians? So what is their interest? For me, I've already concluded that Honorable Mao Sampa and Honorable Brian Munduri, they want to bring in transaction politics, where people should bargain to say, we'll give you this, we'll give you that stake. But this is not time for transactions. This is a time to liberate Zambians. So these two gentlemen must realize one thing, to say that the same battle which they have been fighting within the party has destabilized the operations of the party. Okay? We cannot be complaining of electoral monitoring if the PF leadership is functioning well and very well. Because if you look at what Zambians are looking for, Zambians are not looking for money. Zambians are looking for leadership. And the party that has got a popular presence throughout Zambia is the Patriotic Front. So the members of the public are waiting for the Patriotic Front to lead them. If we talk of election monitoring, how are our branches and the sections going to monitor those elections? How are they going to mobilize? But we can't start all those things because there are people with selfish interests. So, by UPND, all of us, we know that they don't want to let go of power. They don't want. And they have demonstrated. And with their demonstrations, you saw how Bill 7 went through. And the president confessed to say that if Bill 7 didn't go through, we wouldn't have won elections. And look at all these laws that are coming. They are coming from Bill 7. That's why he said we would have lost elections if Bill 7 didn't go through. So, Bill 7 has gone through. Look at the members of parliament that we have today. Whose interests are they representing? So if we are going to say that the members of parliament are going to defend this electoral law, they can't, because all those have been adopted by UPND. This paper will go through. But former Zambians finish to quit. If you quit the former Zambians, new man is the source. So our leaders, let Honorable Makebi Zulu, first of all, I was trying to call him, but I hope Mwamba can delegate his phone to someone so that those who are traveling to meet him from distant places, they are not inconvenienced. Yeah, so maybe let someone handle his phone. So Makebi Zulu this time around must look at those that are willing to come for work. If Mao Sampa is resisting, if Mundura is resisting, let him lead the way. But I'm quite selfish interest, especially. All those Dama leaders have quite very fine Darama Pakubomba. But Makebi Zulu Avanto, Baba Funyepo. Because we cannot, if we talk about money, that today to Treva UPN Kundarama, UPN Dinama Quatempia. So what we just have as Zambians is human resource. And Zambians are waiting for the major political party, the PF, to lead the way. But there is a confusion that are brought in by selfish people. They are the ones that have taken us where we are, where we have not even started mobilizing. We don't know if we are going to manage even to field candidates in certain places. There is no mobilization of the party. No confusion. So, before the Tribal, ask members of the Patriotic Front, before the Tribal Zambians that can unite, let us demonstrate that unity within ourselves. If we cannot demonstrate unity within ourselves, how are the Zambians going to trust us?
True,
I submit, Mama.
Thank you very much. Let me take some more calls before we close. Today we are discussing the threats against the electoral process. What are your views? There are changes that are being proposed, very dangerous proposals, like removing security features on the ballot paper and asking you to leave as soon as you vote. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Hello, caller.
Hello, Ambassador.
Good evening.
Hello, Ambassador. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
I'm humbled for your presentation today. Thank you very much. I would remain an anonymous, but calling from Zambia.
Make your contribution, my brother.
Ambassador, the revelations that you are bringing are very worrying, and they are very dangerous to what we are expecting to happen in a few months from now. Now, I've got one request to make, because you see, the level that you understand these challenges that we are about to face is different from the levels that these other political players that are aspiring to go and participate are moving at. And this is why, if you talk of bringing these people together to come up with one candidate, is very difficult, because some of these political parties they look like they are very powerful. We don't know who is sponsoring them. Okay, so I've got one humble request. Is it possible, Ambassador, that you as an individual who understands these challenges that we have, you can identify these political leaders, you have a meeting with them, you chair that meeting, you guide, so that at the end of the day, you highlight, because what you are doing, some of them are busy laughing at you. But if you can call for a meeting, you will know who are with the Zambians and who are not with the Zambians. Then you find a solution. There is a question that one previous caller has made to ask you to say, what should we do? You are an ambassador. You don't know why God is revealing these things to you. He's doing this for the sake of Zambians, my brother. We really need your help. We really need your input. Is it possible, my brother, to call for these politicians, whatever means of these days there's technology, you can have a meeting with them and discuss, come up with documents that maybe can be taken to the community world, where they can help us to resolve this matter. Otherwise, the way we are moving, nothing is going to happen. This issue that has gone to Parliament, I can assure you, this is the same Parliament that produced Bill 7. And it is the same challenge that you are going to have. And the only way to avoid this problem is to go back to the conditions that helped Hakainde Hichilema to win in 2021. We cannot afford to change the game, the rules of the game, on the last minute. Why has it become bad today when it was good when it ushered him in the parliament? In the government. So the only way is not to allow any changes that will come with these elections we are going to go for. So please, I'm appealing to you, Ambassador.
Thank you, my brother.
How you can identify the leaders that are going to understand, that will move on the same pace with you, so that you can educate, you can guide, and then we come up with a solution rather than where we are at the moment. I don't see any solution from these leaders that are seated in their comfortable zones, that some of them are even sponsored. We don't know what their hidden agenda is. But Zambians are suffering. We are suffering back home. I submit, my brother.
Thank you. That's why you saw the chaos at a consultative meeting, a very serious meeting that should have resolved this, degenerated into a comical show. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contributions.
Ambassador.
Mkwai.
Ambassador na wela na kabiri.
Mkwai.
Ine efyona michetekela. And the law you have prayed in promoting transparency and democracy. Therefore, munga suke. Bushe. My international community. I will still come back to that. The international community. On Zambia. What is their stance? Because In 1991, they are the one who told us that Kaunda is overstayed, and the reason why the country is in not development is because of the governance system. We went into introducing the multi-party system. Today, everything President HH and the UPND are doing, it's glittering gold and silver. I want you, Ambassador, from your exposure and that you are at the position of standing, where is the international community today? Regards what's happening in the parliament. We have almost 75% of the members of parliament of the Patriotic Front have crossed the floor, and the speaker, and have brought in a bill regards on election, and they wants us to pretend that kama Zambia ntabeshiwe. Ambassador to afweni ni one. Echakwa number one. Number two, ambassador. Abama opposition leader. President Brian Munduvile, President Makebi Zulu, President Ari Kalala, President Fred Membe, President KBF. Ababonse abatabakwete capacity as an individual political party to defeat HH. So, imwe ambassador balondolwele ni script iyala tuwafogwati abena Zambia ni balubuke. 2, balaba na mtale na lumango balela ndapo. Bana mtale na lumango in 2021. She was a deputy speaker of the National Assembly. When Chiluba bale mushupa, banamtale na lumango bafuma kwa kaputa. Tabasapota babululu shawo. Number 2, bamayo ba mwangalaza lomis. Nga vefe achilanda bambi bakola na bakula. Bashe umutende muchalo. What legacy she's going to leave? Elo bakala bebu kishabu atibali ba electoral chairperson muno muchalo. Ba ambassador afiri sheni ama political party leaders to understand that no individual political party can defeat President Hakainde Hichilema and the MMD and the way they are moving. Ero chimbi ambassador Nemilomba, mwilamu leta ulio muntu in the name of Mumba Malila. Muleta ka script ka kweko bagwete ku Livingstone, alenda pari justice and other things. Ulio muntu is a let down. Ulio muntu ngali ishibo kweta mazambia nibale chula, and there is a rule of law. Rule of law has been broken out. And Zambia nibale bachusha. Ngali still resigning the protests. Ulio muntu umubi sana. Mwilaka leta kaleka script muleta. Alikulazi. Ano general meeting alela ndefya ifunde la chalo. Ulio muntu umubi sana. I submit.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contributions. Hello, caller.
Hello?
Yes, caller.
Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Didi, calling from Zambia.
Yes. My dear sister, make your contribution.
Okay. Vamwamba, vaisizeti, ifyo vale chitate fisuma. Election iliyonse twale vota fyo bwinono kulolela fyo kuba fyo kutali mulelolela titumfwe uwala pitano kwa msengera ngabena nishi ashupa po kuli government ponisi ashupa po yako bacha muntu ngavota afuma aya no kuya pashala fyo ngabakala chita yala ma vote kuya chita security pakwa chiveka le panse nishi baratu ali bamwene bonse bali kere balelolela bonse bale pitamu no kupita bonse abena gali nkombo bale pitamu ukumona abantu babo nomba nishitinshi bale tina opposition yo balandira titakuwa ba opposition nishi bambo kuitini opposition yako yaba umuntu onse ole umfwa kuli i program alwani tuikatani takwapo echalo cha fula dictatorship ya msango ifi vamayo vazalome tabaletwafwa uchipenzi tapali filondolokele bonse balyana ba ku security tapali filondolokele bale fichitila mofi elo apalomba na tushi bati bale tina opposition na beshi bati nshita na ipwa ifi balela ndati opposition takuli abantu kukabafya ma nomination ila bakachita nominate ukapita fe kuma nomination bonse ko bakapantu abantu na batine mbela yaba abantu takwa boko bengisha ba police 4000 mwabengisha private tali ni shumwa shwati baraba kusamkuleta confusion muku guide muku tefi ma polling station na chibashi ninechi bai kala fe tondolo ba firu okusolve fintu abene be kabaleka sabanye fintu abene be kabaleka sabanye fintu bale firu fianya ilo bafika sabanya elo lomba bala fire to kwati nikuli fofwe bale rufyanya kwa bantu kwati nikuli fofwe bantu fwe bale rufyanya ifata tule rufyanya pona nguchimo emisango shabwe sho abantu baba mwene na baba mwene emisango eshingi sana bene bayisokolwela fye. That's why ne uli omwana kashinda mkonka sana uli wa ku Livingstone uli ati muyoyota uli omwana kashinga lelo ndola kwena kushitola mwamano nangu nyuse kutu watola mu kufya alanda ifisyo mule chita fikesa abapali imwe ba ruling party mwe balipo ala ndebe bafikesa milipira mukamuna kwa chini muchiroto ukubani tache bote kusuma bekenya abantu bachitefyo bale chita kufyalo fya bafunguta kwa bakutamfyo omuntu pagati shani fumeni po mwikala pa balalolela bamwamba kuimini no omuntu wale vota na bafwala abani ba UPND beminini apa abani ba PF efyo kwaba walole shati na chira boyu waingira mukati takwabo okutamfya nomba bena ninshi abantu bachulira baikalira kumunga wefwafwa kubalandira tukateka bwino PF taileteka po bwino unipita amtekere bwino emwe mdita amtekere bwino eto abantu bale fulukira amapati yakale yatekwa po bwino bushaba kutuba kokola mu opposition no kwisalufyanye fintu ukufilufyanyo achalande kwatireto omuntu enkusume nakanono nakeshibe fresh kamuchalo awe mwandini bamwamba mwandini mwe ba opposition muiba grid umuntu nga balefwa ko bat not mube atibonse tuiminire tube pali bu president tafya bombe fyo saleni umuntu umo ewo tulefwa yamantu no position yengi sana akabamuja lubuleni abantu abena Zambia mwana abena Zambia bashirela ndati nachuama baledilira munshi baletira fya mwandini twaikala twachula awo mwandini takwa bapo buteko bwaifi awo mwandini takwa bapo umuntu umofye ule pingula awo mwandini takwa bakwatika bachitenisi tukala chitemingalato since when mwamfure from government yakale bale bonfya timingalato imingalato tewadiri suma imingalato fyo umuntu fyo waishwa fyati imingalato kutuwa mina na kupodia mulela ndati imingalato spokesperson ulela ndati minister of information ulela ndati imingalato na wikala na pachipuna. Who does that shuwa mwe bantu? Mwe bale umfwako fe mwebe na Zambia. Londolwele ni abantu ukutila ifwe ba opposition imwe ikataneni mwitushupa mwiba grid 50% te ya muntu umo. Na 50% ababa UPND tabaka itole. Nabona abeshi bayichira mule bamwe nabafwaila chabingo wabula abantu. Balefwa 50% ibafuilishe. 50% te yakwangala ko yakuba mwaikatana not wabuka alala ndefya kwe opposition wabuka alala ndefya ikataneni abantu kunshi balikatana baleti mwa balufya mwalanda fimbi abantu batina bekatana balefwe kintu kinga chimo tabalelanda balitabalelanda abantu nabafula bamambanga bwenda pa ground abantu balelanda fyati mukamona ekikachitika ukapita fe kuma nomination bonse ko tukaya mwaumfwa nishikutumwa shati chalo chili bwino Pwadishi bati Muzambia munaba bali sama monitoring shani abakuchita monitor my election. Fish bale chitapo monitor bakumune file chitika mcha. Naba munefu bale chita abantu. Naba muna bushefo since when? Since you need pelo twice as lukaluna mu 2026. Ngabali pitira bala bale kaisi ya gale chite fiale chite bale chita. Ngabali pitaba bana ba president bala teko bubuteko. Ngatabate kele isi yeo ali muntu wako batirekeni bale chita campaign bale bekale bale tukano ko kune balandense bati bena kumfwa fye isi yeo kumfuike fisendo na mumfwa kumfuike fye ashishive ala tapalati si au pali akalale panshi au kutolo mpambo watolele chibali filala ndilati mukamfuaya na mumfimfina tochi na mukasubana tochi awo tule mufuaya elo tule mulila kabili bayufi na batola pochimo abuchimo labalanga mule bafunda panga ndati fifibi elo beluka na batola pochimo fine babashile kuli bu police babe banko batiyo database yabo fishi abako na batola po 5 cents bamwamba. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have so many people waiting as we are supposed to close, but let's hear from you. This is your program. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Sinyango Danny on the line, Mamamba. I'm just so happy. Yeah, went quiet. I'm just so happy that you're back, Mamamba. I missed you. The Zambian people missed you. And then what I would say today, Mamamba, if you could hear all the callers, what they are saying, they are all saying one and the same thing, Mamamba. But my call is to all Zambians. Mwema Zambians, tini tufukame kulilesa, kulolesa tapabo fya afilwa. Mwema Zambian. As much as this person who is in power thinks that we are timid and we are scared of him, we are not. Or I would say, even with unity, let's unite with a purpose. Let's not also unite with the people that are in a state where they just want to do things for their stomach. Let us look for leaders that want to unite with the purpose, people that can bring development for Zambia. As much as people are talking about, oh, now, whether we like it or not, Bamwamba, let's say it the way it is. ECZ is a branch of UPND. The judiciary is a branch of UPND. The Zambia police is a branch of UPND. But what we, the Zambians, have, we are the biggest opposition in Zambia. And what we, the Zambian people, we've seen what these guys have done. And we know where we are today. Like every person that has called on this program, Wamwamba, let us open our eyes. Let us also not forget to tule pepa kulilesa. All is going to be well. That leader that we need should unite with people that mean well. We just don't want to see unite and then some people are not even worth to be united because they don't put Zambia first. Bamwamba, I won't say much because a lot of people want to talk to you. They have missed you and I'm so glad that you're back today. God bless you and God bless all Zambians. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Callers, let's to the Kumatero, but you are insisting on talking. I'll stay on another just 10 minutes just to hear from you. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and make your contributions. Endita, make your contribution, my brother.
Nga tumveyo bill batwere mu parliament babuteko mambe cho ningalumbako because iyi bill bamwambanga chakwati apita ma MPs besu bayipisha taire chitafa affect na ba PF nangu ba FDD nangu party yonse but ile affect abantu wonse whether nabeminina pali makebizulu ama MPs abakeminina pali bamundubire abakeminina independent wonse ile bachita affect ine chonde chitapiu nga pali kwa MPs abale umfa pali program please tulipanshi twapapata bane not to support a bill because bonsero mukafwa yokuminina bakalande ko ati kuli yo ballot paper takuli chidindo nishimukapita shani ero tu ama councillors babapundira parapene pama polling station iyo baleranda tama councillors ama abantu nkala pa polling station nga bavota bafire bafumapo no babaka pakuchita declare bali abawinine nangu ba councillor bali abawinine pali ya ward nangu muri ya polling station tali babachita pama polling station no manga twaikala kumayanda tukeshiba shani kwa tu muntu wesu uwiminire pa FDD nangu uwiminire pa independent na wina echo tulero chako wati bane play punch na tupapata mwema MPs ba UPND ikatane ndibombere ni chapa mo because ne fine limbita bamichitira adopt mu party yenu ya UPND mukafoku mina independent nembanga mwa support chibiu mukemina shani independent ni shina bakanya abantu bene kwikala pa polling station so twapapata bamwamba tulandire nikona kuma bishop kuma church leaders wonse bapere statement tumone eko twalalira because so far tatukwete eko twalalirira tulebirira tukuli ba church civil society organization ba EU ba America n'abasharo ko bati batulanize ko kuli issue na totera mkwai.
Thank you very much. Let's get your last calls. I make my remarks and we close. There are so many people that are calling. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and give us your contribution. Hello?
Hello, Mwamba Mwabombeni.
Mkwai.
Nameless.
Nameless, make your contribution.
Mkwai, thank you. Mwamba, katulande kumivena lero pakwe abantu bonse batumfa bantu isteyo tufikirepo. Abantu afire bala umfa kwefokirelanda.
Mkwai.
Kwena mwandini ine ninsumira ku bantu bonse tebalelanda utushimi twachilamo. Lero tushimi toto tukwata na tule tufumia amabu. Tule tufumia amabu te tushimi utusuma iyo. Lelo ine obo ninga tate blame. Ni ba opposition. Obo ninga blame. Bantu bali firo kuikatana. Bali firo kuikatana. Ero takwaba na ngumo waisa ukwisa kufisha ubwino na ngumo kwebatisha nishani onke kwefe wenga kweba lelo utubona seneti fyaba monse fyeba mona na kwa mono kwebatisena katakusibetika ino kumbekita kublema ero chintu chimo kuchondola
Ma akulandireni mufoni mwamfuya kwati mwafuma kufoni akulandireni mufoni.
Mkwai, na chero chintu chimwe chondefu kulanda po vekesha ukuchitahamu ama Zambians ukufunya omulo papa ma Zambians vekesha kali vekatala tatule fwayo kumono omulo pa mcharo chesu chintu chimwe chavipishanganshi ukuchula abantu balechula tetibese bachule na papa dilelo vale vota bachudirepo so mwema opposition mwa firo kutuchita protect no kuchita protect abantu venu ikataneni twapapa ta ikataneni tule keno kulanda ti votere ni ba makebizu votere ni ba mundubire votere ni ba bashana bashani uko tulande fyati ikataneni nga mwai katana ibika pamobunse ero nombe fintu fyala bumba no manga tamuika tene mwala tuipaisha fyonse fyali ba drafted iyo biyo mulela ndakwa tiri mu parliament yali ba drafted yali bana approved nangu bengalando kwebati twapapa tamuika ya ivotera yali voterwa kale yakuya save presented this is it pandu abantu tabakweti oluse nangu apanono uluse tabalukwete ifo tulalanda na abantu twalikwata babululu twalikwata abantu balilafye every day. Nobody should touch a Zambian that revoke Chimonecho. Nobody. They should not even try to touch a Zambian. Tuachula.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, I'm taking the last cause and I give my remarks over your overwhelming response on this program regarding Zambia's possibility of holding democratic, free and fair elections. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yeah, good evening, Ambassador.
Good evening.
This is Alfred calling from Lusaka.
Alfred, make your contribution.
Thank you. Ambassador, there is no possibility of Zambia having free and fair elections under the UK government. It's very clear. First of all, President doesn't have confidence in free and fair election. It's the reason why he has embarked on Ngalato. It's the reason why
that our supreme law
dear brother, Alfred from Lusaka, your network is tripping and we keep on missing what you are saying. I'm so sorry. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and give us your contribution. And Tamayo, Badshan, Anonymous, make your contribution.
Inna chako kutingi kushe kufanati kushewa opposition bonse bali bashita bantu ngatababa bashita bonse ba makebi zulu ba mundulire ba kalaba ba KBF ba katushita ndo nasha kwa kala na ba socialist
Hello?
That's it. Na tu da ko sasa na Zambia. Wachula muchino chapa. Kadanga baleta moyoni abashinga ba vote. Namba ukasunga ma vote yes. Niba
Oh, the lines is
vote to push ku vote. Tuapushwa kuvota ichungwa turekera kulapele pakamwalolera umuntu wenu bamupondo kuti nalusa nangu nawina era abantu basalanga na balaya bala bawinine bashala celebrate palapele nambanga balakanye echo bakashana vota kale bakashela bapapi musango ifitakwata la kuba mchinalo esafia umwe na wama konsina tuwafwe alo mtungusho sesha kutishola president kushabale fwelo ini akoko ishiziba chiziba ichi wakatekana kabiri nitemi yecho mtu fuma na mteni zafuma tenisha twakale mpele mfwa bana ifufulo uyaka bani finish uyaka bani finish twapapa tatupapate kubena zaguliwa opposition.
Thank you very much. Thank you. The line was bad, but I think we got the gist of what you are saying. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution. Endita.
Boniface Mlenga.
Ba Boniface Chingola, Yolanden Poyama.
Mwamba tuleto telakairi tulatasha because ichalo chonse chilomvwa na international ilomvwa kwe bati tule complaina ero chinge chavapo chakutila tilabalanda tumukulu wapuse elibwe tapusa akewo ayama shiwitu wale yamwena pa social media ilio bakaunda baleta manta pakulanda kulumuleshina bati palasti kwabo kubafuirisha basuka bayi bati eyo wine nachilalanda ebintu twambo kumona iyo twali muyonipi abengi apa bonse balesumina kwali one party state pali chura n'omuntu bati abantu balesango pa polling station kuya mukulolero kumona uwalawina pa polling station pali until twalisaponga na democracy umwe abama political party ayengi tulasangwa nga lero kyafuma kwisa ekyo ekyakutira mwise mupange iyo bill elo apali bamayiba ino banani ba sorry apali bamayiba na mutale na lalumangu baba nawo bene bamayiba nani ba election chairman banani
Mangala Zalomis
Mangala Zalomi bafuire bakwata umutima wakumona bushemyaka bakwete abeshikuru bakwete abana bakwete shikuru walukuru bakwete ushefi bakafishire inshi muchalo nga chakutira muchalo mwaiso yo musango ero mwalete mwaisa befi mfurunganya tatule sobere ku befi mfurunganya bakabe bati babombere chinshi muchalo timo tule baratu aikana nangu twali kati mufintu fimo bya kwebati file tsungo kutule mura kwate bulesa twakwata twabaratu aikana bushoyiresa nde pepa uyuresa abanandi ba pepa ko twabaratu afiteula twafibika site twebati chentro jamenzo kuchinzo chakwalisa Kenya abantu bakwate democracy umwine ngali nokulolela alolele talongevi abantu balelanda kulaba makanselas kwabana mapresidential abengi tufire twayishibira pa polling station ko bati awo pano bashikuru bantu babomba fye bwira nombe cyo baletina chishi kirabine bayishire efyo bafuire bayishibo ko bati bashe cyalo nga cyakutira bali no kuyabera Zambia ila soti bale turungira nga cyakutira bale runga muchirere chinga bafuire bayishi bati nali bomba bwino nabantu bale ya soti kulingana no kulunga nino nga fye bwino nombanga nabafusha bali fusha soti bafuire bayishi bati abantu n'abakanadeti tuli evya soti sote division nga kwabo okufushya ko soti bala washa so abena Zambia nga bali fo kuwasha bali kibawasha bakutira soti bali evya kulya bwino abene bayikalire kino ekyalo kyali kwatabera Zambia efe twale complaina pa road blocks tuze byambo kuchakola itu kwishibuko bati kushefinish vi muri kino ekyalo kyeso pakufunya ma road blocks pa president kwate n'umutima wa cyalo cya Zambia lero nga mwala kwate umutima wa kutira vyati mufwayo teka bina Zambia iyo wai babena Zambia bene barefu okubonja ama rights yabo musango tabarefu lesa muchine chinga ifyo murefu ya lesa takafisu vya refu wa muri kino cyalo cya Zambia azro bonga jo bafumako kutambira na kuri bakaunda
Oh.
Wina Kristo imwanga kufa okufunya wina
a Boniface
mwebena Zambia polling station bakapange funde tabapangire funde to ya ikala natotera mko.
Thank you very much. I was getting worried your line was cutting. Let me take two last calls and then I give my remarks about today's topic and some responses and we close. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
I'm James from Zambia.
James, make your contributions.
Yeah, Mr. Momba, this is a time the opposition really need to unite. They have to unite to raise funds to do the voter protection. And also I have to rally behind Mr. Karava, who tends to demonstrate for the action of the bill. And also I would like to mention that Mr. Sango had already initiated the process of raising funds. So why can't the opposition unite and raise those funds so as to employ vigilant use per polling station, maybe at least 10 to 20 vigilant use per polling station to man and protect the votes. Mr. Manda.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Okay, Wamwamba nakabina wera uchiti mukuru.
Bachiti mukuru landeni po bwangu.
Mukwa ekyo ndefo okulanda Bamwamba ndicha last chako bati ayama vote aleisa kwera nango bakalanda ati yo ine biu ya pita na chumfa bwino bafrefu balanda bafuma po baba chiralanda tatu akafume pa polling station ichikulu fetuka kwato omutende nokulolera ukubata makandidate besobo tuminike twamone efyo babomba pa polling station pe ngena Zambia tufire fe twayigala ichikulu pitatulereto oluli tukulolera fye ukunfinite fo firenda nama MPs ifana tumiralika twamye batwalami kulera tumone fye mukachita mu parliament muli apa kupisha ibiu nga yapita fikachitika fyose mwema MPs filipa mitwe yenu because na muiberenga n'okwishiku kwati ibiu ibi bati mukutamo kwandala makwenu mulefu kusupport ibiu bati twalami mona tukanami konku kumone fye mwalambo kuchita pakati apa antu ibiu nga yapita mwishibu kwati abena Zambia fyose fikachitika fika wapa mitwe yenu utafya kafumepo nangu mukafweshani. This thing will be on your children and on your generation to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contributions. Hello, caller, make your contribution. Tell us your name and make your contribution. Hello, good evening.
Daniel from Cape Town.
Daniel from Cape Town, make your contribution. Daniel?
You know what you mean? I know the law. I'm actually in Bafi. Abantu bari umfwa. So the only people that I'm counting on is you, Binu Umpundu, JJ Banda. Spread the information. Hari Karava. Spread the information. Sensitize people as much as you can. One day will be liberated. In 8 days at 2026. Abo bambi abakwetama personal ambitions of being a president. We can see what has happened to HH. Fintu vyakupatikisha efiderenga. So even those that are forcing to be president when you are not given, mukafuma pongevyo barafuma pwabanenu. It must be something that you are prepared to do and something that you know that you work for the Zambians. Ero ngakwata ma ambitions yakuba president, not for selfish benefits tafibomba. So Mwamba, Binwo Mpundu, JJ Banda, ama elections are kapite with your voices. Your voices are not falling on deaf ears, Natote.
Thank you very much. Thank you, dear viewers, and thank you for joining us. Today we are discussing the threats against Zambia holding democratic, credible, free and fair elections, that the elections should be transparent. And we highlighted the threats. Already this process is threatened by the passing of Bill 7, which is now Article 13 of 2025. The current crossing of the floor, that remains unattended to. Can you imagine a speaker joins UPND when he's supposed to be independent and he doesn't resign? Look at all the MPs from Sunday Chanda, Robert Chavinga, Sidney Mushanga, and all those MPs that have crossed floors and have officially joined the UPND, yet they are sitting in parliament. The flagrant abuse of the constitution and disregard. All these are threatening Parliament. Currently, there is a bill, a very dangerous bill, the Electoral Process Bill, which is as a result of Bill 7 that is sitting before that Parliament. There are dangerous provisions that have been provided for, including the demand that as soon as you vote, you leave the polling station. And this process, our voters who wake up at 0304 have always guarded their and so peacefully the results of what they voted. The new law requires that you leave the polling station. There are various issues of concern in that bill, including the removal of security features to the ballot paper. The stamp, the watermark, and other security features will be removed from that ballot paper. And remember, ECZ has already picked the winning bid who will print these ballots. This matter becomes very serious. Then the nomination process that has to take place for presidential candidate is also a matter of worry that we discussed, how they want you to bring those 100 supporters, you become visible to ECZ. We don't know what they will do between that period and the nomination period. We've had concerns of people that will file as independents. We know that there are administrative processes that have planned that they might disqualify those candidates. That was the topic today. There were various concerns. A particular caller keeps on insisting that with all these threats, where is the EU? Where is the British? Where are the US? Why are they quiet? My dear brother, I've got very bad news for you. Very, very bad news for you. The changes in our country will not be done by foreigners. It will not be done by the diplomatic community. They've chosen to be silent. There's a reason why they are silent. They were very vocal in 2021 and supported President Hakainde Hichilema. And their silence now is extremely loud. I know you want them to be loud. They have chosen not to be. The changes and the reforms in our country will be done by you and me. You have to speak. This reliance on foreigners that they will help us is a folly process. Someone can conduct an election, kill people, and be called president, even send delegations to Zambia, and you receive them, and you receive them properly and formally. The elections can only be guarded by you. Let us not even invest in hope that the British, the Americans, the EU will guard our elections. No, it has to be you and me. You and me are the ones that will cause changes. It is our country. Foreigners have interest in our country. And if they think that their interests are secure with a particular candidate, that's why they could keep Mobutu for 30 years. Mobutu would pick a call, go to the central bank. And the central bank governor would tell him, no, the dollars are finished. He would call the IMF, I want dollars tomorrow, and they'll bring the dollars. Read about in the footsteps of Mr. Kez and the misconduct of Mobutu Sese Seko. They sustained him, even when he was looting, pillaging the DRC. So do not rely on foreigners to protect you and your vote. If the foreigners think that their interests are secured with a certain candidate, if the foreigners think that they can bring all sorts of vaccines, even vaccines for diarrhea, what a vaccine diarrhea, vaccine cholera, now they are bringing you certain rings that our women should wear. Even if they bring you contraceptives that are dangerous to our country, if they can do that and their rights are secured, they'll be silent. So my dear brother, I recognize your passionate plea that we should raise lobbies in Washington, in London, in Paris. But for me, looking at the history of Africa, looking at the history of our country, there's a reason why foreigners speak and why foreigners keep quiet. So I've got very bad news for you. The changes in our country will be done by you and me. The rest will be merely complementary. You need to vote. You need to secure that vote. You need to ensure that ECZ announces the will of the Zambians, your will. You who wake up very early in the morning and don't even think because of the threats we've threatened and you keep away from the vote. No, do not. The changes will be done by you. But all I am asking is for you to protect that vote. I'm highlighting all these concerns, giving you a profile of Mangala Zalomis, of McDonald Penzi, of everyone else who's at the commission, so that you are aware that these men and women are not working for you. They are not responding to the Constitution. They have a private role. They've been deployed to protect certain interests. But you are the voter. The Constitution is your creation, and you have a right to protect it. You have a right to protect your vote. That was the purpose of this entire broadcast. I have seen debates and again. Why is the British quiet? Why are the Americans quiet? It doesn't matter how much we lobby them. We want to akwalesa. Abakalubule chalo. Nifwe vote pali na bambi. If Kaunda had relied on foreigners to, Kaunda and his team had relied on foreigners to emancipate our country, we would not have gotten independence. Maybe we would have gotten it far much later. They took the reins of the country. They took the agenda onto their own hands, and they campaigned and they brought public pressure to bear. If you want to ensure that our country, is emancipated, you have to take that charge yourself and be interested, be active, and take it upon yourself. No one is going to do it for you. If the Americans, the British, and other special envoys speak for Zambia and express concern about what is happening, well, it should be merely complementary to the work that is being done. Therefore, the work on the shoulders of the opposition is far higher than we have seen so far. So God bless you. And until tomorrow, we have Makebi Zulu from the PF Pamosi Alliance president. He had his inaugural meeting. Join us tomorrow. And God bless you. And we'll see you tomorrow.
We want change. We want change. We want change. We want change. We want a change.
na pone politician formuliria pone bakulu wa bakulu
the sound magician Wi-Fi on the beat boy
twakupele voting atawa bomba twakupele voting atawa bomba tawali mone voting atawa bomba tawali mone voting atawa bomba pantuno mwaka kuya bebele twanakanemwe mwachira mobufi kuya bebele twamwelele numa kuya bebele mwachira mobufi mwalitula ile ona lebwa timukesa tupangira kwemisebo twali mipele nevoti atimukesa tupangira kwemisebo nimwewo mwatile mukesa tukulila nechipatala ifwe nimwewo mwatile mukesa tukulila na masukulu kuno ukutula po twabisalila ifwe mwalitula baona lebo imisebwala yajonaika ichipatala takwaba kuno abana besu basambilila mufimuti fya mango bana mayo mapapila mungande chipatala takwaba kuno imisepila chose malofwa bapepa byebange fama lelilo mufunda tawafika nembuto tashafika ukutula po twamisalila ifwe mwalitula baona lebo nomba lelo mwabwela imwe mulefwa yatumivotele twakupele votinga tawa